I'll just try to think why I joined Restless. And for me, there's something that, well, I went through a bit of midlife crisis and a spiritual awakening and such like, started when I was about 42. And I've been running my joinery business. I've been, reasonably successful by my measure, which was like 4 joiners, 3, 4 employees, which was fine for me. But I got to a point where I had the wife, had the kids, had the mortgage and the pension, and getting reasonable holidays and stuff in the house in the country. And I started asking the bigger questions in life, meaning of life stuff. And I didn't really, I started reading the Bible and doing Reiki and all that kind of stuff, thinking that would give me some answers or make a difference or meet some other need that I was unaware. I wasn't even sure what was going on. And all that really happened, in fact, they didn't really help any, to be honest. And then I went away on a cruise. And I'm not somebody for lying about in the sun, so I was lying reading, and my sister-in-law had given me a couple of books, Dan Brown's Da Vinci Code and Deepak Chopra's Synchro Destiny, and that really started messing me up because it eroded everything that I had understood about life and how it worked. And so even when I was on the cruise ship, I started having kind of peak experiences, one with a butterfly that flew all the way along a corridor, landed on me, and then flew all the way again, as if to make its point. And this was somewhere in the middle of the Mediterranean. And so as my mind, whatever, was trying to figure out what on earth was going on, I ended up at one end of the spectrum, lying in bed at night crying, having peak psychotic episodes, and try to hide it from everybody out of kind of male ego, pride, shame. And at the other end, all sorts of wonderful peak experiences with life and nature and all sorts of things with animals, and I was almost able to tell other people's feelings and all sorts of stuff because my psyche was more porous, although I didn't understand that at the time. So, I'm trying to remember for there. Yeah, so I was really, really struggling, and then I always feel a bit guilty about offering this, but there was a wee girl that died in my life, and there's a bigger story to that, and it caused me to completely collapse. So I just gave up trying to figure it all out, and I surrendered in a sense to be guided, to be shown, and that's when things really started turning around. And I was, to cut a long story short, guided to the Institute of Psychosynthesis, where I did a master's degree in psychospiritual development. I went on to do some heart intelligence stuff, and that's what I do now. So instead of running my joinery business, for the past, 13 years or so, since 2008, I've been doing life coaching, but psychospiritual life coaching, kind of personal development stuff, midlife crisis stuff, spiritual awakening stuff, all the type of things that begin to go on for people when they get to kind of 40. I mean, people used to say, and in my time anyway, that life begins at 40. And I never ever understood what they meant, but I know now what they meant. So for me, in joining Restless, I was hoping to kind of hook up with people that had similar experiences, maybe similar interests, because for me now, having done all that training and years of coaching and practice, I can see that we move from seeking materialistic purpose, meaning and value in life, to seeking a more spiritual purpose, meaning and value in life. And so my sense is that might be, or will be, something that is definitely here for other people. But obviously not everybody. A psychospiritual context in relation, to give you a wee bit more insight into that, sees that we all come into the world as the pure, divine, loving energy that is all of the universe. And what happens is that we then have to psychologically adapt to manage our environment that we're in and to feel safe. So we go into this egoic phase of development, which is all kind of psychological functioning, where the soul, the psyche, uses logic and reason to kind of rejig us and work out how to negotiate life through childhood. And in any instance where we feel really safe, on our own, at home, in the bedroom, whatever, we don't necessarily behave that way, and we can be our true self. But in general, it's when we get kind of to midlife that we begin to feel the urge to be our true self, and we can begin to see our psychological behaviour, our mindsets, our coping mechanisms, our maintaining cycles, projection, transference, all the psychological ways that we behave, our limiting beliefs, etc. And we stop wanting to behave the way that we can see we're beginning to behave, and that's our calling to awaken to the next level, which is the type of thing I'm talking about. And what happens is that we struggle in our relationships, whether that be with our spouse, partner, whatever, kids, friends, at work. Our career isn't progressing as we wanted, and it's because this starts holding us back, and we will be finding ourselves getting triggered. And the triggering is not because of what happened in childhood. The triggering and the disturbance that we experience is because there is our higher self, which is pulling us to kind of be able to get back to who we were when we came into the world, to get back to being the true or pure self that we are. But we are so messed up in this egoic functioning phase that we now need to untangle ourselves from it, and that's what causes us the disturbance. So it's not our adverse childhood experiences that are causing our problems in adulthood. It's the higher self that's calling us to awaken to be our true self, and it needs to help us untangle from all that stuff. So this is all the stuff I'm about. This is all the stuff that I learned through my midlife crisis and spiritual awakening, and it's the type of people I'm looking for is people that have these kind of interests, will understand like the meaning of life and what's going on. So hopefully that gives you a wee idea of what I'm about and what I'm hoping to kind of get out of being in this space, which for me again fits exactly with the theme restless. One, rest less, but also being restless. We're not done with life. We have a place in life that's not being credited for what it is. So we've all had our careers and now got to early retirement, later life, whatever, and we've got a lot to give back, but we're not living in an environment that sees that for what it is, and also because we're not necessarily psycho-spiritually educated, in the sense that we initially function, as I said, psychologically, and then the invitation is to move to functioning psycho-spiritually. We're not so guided and influenced by our psychological functioning, but more by the next phase of development and the way that functions. So again, as I say, my desire, my interest in being here is to engage with people that have those kind of interests, that are still trying to understand how life works and what the meaning of life is, and almost repurpose themselves to make a difference in life, because the world's in quite a state just now, and I think it is only the kind of older generation, which I'll put at 50 over, that are developmentally really at a phase where they could be making the type of difference that I'm talking about here. So just looking at the time here, that's got to be long enough. Yep, there's almost 10 minutes. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff, that's certainly the type of thing I'm looking for. So I hope to connect with some of you soon. Bye now.